Head on over to Kayfabe Cards in Riverton, Utah for all things tabletop. This store is home to Pokemon, One Piece, Flesh and Blood, and more, selling both singles and sealed product in-store and online. You'll find their massive assortment of Pokemon plushies, sleeves, deck boxes, and other staple products. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Kayfabe Cards. We'll see you there.
So let's check out some of my tournament runs here. In these last two, I placed third in both. First one was third out of 79. That was just all Swiss rounds. I finished 7-1. And then I ran back the same 60 for a $50 tournament. And that one did have a top cut with ASIM. I think I started off 8-0-1 or something like that. So I was first seed going in. And then I won in top 8 and then lost in top 4 there. This was a limited tournament. I didn't know that going in, but cards like meta cards like Gardevoir EX, Dragapult EX, Goldango, Saraledge, and a couple other things like Grimmsnarl were all banned. So if you kind of look at this run that I had here, let's go. Yeah, so this was my run, and funny enough, it's like all bad matchups. They just ended up working out in my favor just because it was all decks with none of the meta cards other than the Mega Absol box. And this last Mega Absol game is very interesting. We went to time in game 3, and my opponent definitely slow played their last few actions because they attacked right before the timer went off to go down to 1 prize card when I was at 2. And I immediately just had the Pikachu attack for game, but they stalled out the timer because the winner was by prize cards. And because I wasn't streaming, the guy said that he had to, even though I sent screenshot proof that I won the game, right after they gave them the win, and so they ended up winning the tournament. It's a bit unfortunate there of how it ended, but I did win $5, so that's pretty cool, I guess. But the important thing here is I did run the same 60 to both tournaments. And this is not far off my list from the last, or before Mega Evolution. And I won a couple cups, I won a challenge, did well in online tournaments with it. And it's mostly the same. The only changes from the list are I swapped out the baby Galvantula for Galvantula EX. And we'll talk about its uses. And then I swapped out Genesect for Tool Scrapper. And I think that's pretty much the only change. Or the only 2 changes. Because sometimes it flip-flops between like 3 Ultra Ball, 4 Pokegear, or vice versa. Right now it's at 4 Ultra Ball, just so I can go get my Iron Leaves more consistently when I need it, because in this meta, Charizard just won Milwaukee. That's going to be more popular. Then it punishes early Rare Candy Zard plays. Grimmsnarl is also more popular, and it punishes early Candy Grimmsnarl plays. It is a switch out, so that's very nice. I do still have the stadiums in here, and they actually have even more use cases now, because with the new Mega Absol Kangaskhan box, it's a bump for Lively Stadium, which is really, really important. And on top of that, we decided to include Tool Scrapper. Just wanted to try it out and see how it works, and I honestly think it's a mainstay in the deck. It's got so many different use cases. Charizard, just one that can play Maximum Belt or even Hero's Cape. I have a feeling Hero's Cape will be a little bit more popular for specifically the mirror match. And that's a problem because Iron Leaves can't knock out a Charizard if there's a Hero's Cape on it. So Tool Scrapper can come up huge in that matchup. It's really important into Gardevoir because when they do the Bravery Charm on Monkey Dories, I'm not able to amp them with Iron Hands. Let's just get rid of those. How about that? And also, the Mega Absol Kangaskhan is what it was originally intended to be in there for, to get rid of the Bravery Charms, plus I have eventual bump with the Gravity Mountain. So that leaves them with 300 or less. And that matchup is slightly favored for us, in my opinion. They're going to struggle to be able to use Absol with the threat of Iron Leaves. Even if there's a Stadium and a Bravery Charm on it, Iron Leaves hits exactly 360 and one-shots the Mega Absol. So they have to go in with Kangaskhan or notably Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon, because initially only my Iron Hands, and in most lists only Iron Hands can attack it. They can beef it up. They have like 3 to 4 pennies. They'll move the damage off of Monkey Dories, and that matchup becomes a problem. Because they can also Bravery Charm their Monkey Dories as well, so that's another nice thing with Tool Scrapper. That's why we have it in there. So I decided to try Galvantula EX to play around Cornerstone, and now we just have a Cornerstone out in general, because Charged Web for Lightning in the colorless does 110, and if the active is an EX, it does 110 more. So 220, pretty much perfect math on Cornerstone. Now if they Bravery Charm the Cornerstone, it gives it a little bit more, so the Tool Scrapper does help with that. But it's also just been, which this is surprising to me, I just wanted to try it as an out to that specific matchup. But it's such an efficient attacker, and it gets rid of your liability of Joltik having 30 hit points. 260 is not a ton, but it is a significant amount. And doing just like 110 is perfect math to knock out a Monkey Dory if you're in a bind. 220, Chaos Pheasantipity, Latias, Squawkabilly, Mew, anything like that. And for 2 energy, like if I can't close the game with Blood Moon on a Pheasantipity like I normally would plan, I'm an energy and a boss away from KOing it with Galvantula. So it's actually been really good in multiple different scenarios in these last 2 tournament runs. So it's not a mainstay in the deck, I would say, but I'm going to keep it in for now. And if I decide to play Joltik, different things will be swapped in and out. Like I can go back to trying the baby Galvantula, but I really don't think, like especially with the Gravity Mountains, that Charizard and Grimmsnarl, that you really need it. Iron Leaves is there for those. And Pikachu can hit 300. Gravity Mountain takes it down to 330. Can take care of either a Grimmsnarl or a Charizard. And I mean, Galvantula's even good for those Pidgeots. Because again, 2 energies. Oko's the Pidgeot, no problem. Even under, if it has like a Hero's Cape on it, doesn't matter. Because 440 is too much for it to deal with. So, this is the list I have got for Joltik Box for now. And another list I have been playing on ladder quite a bit that I do enjoy is the Absol Kangaskhan. I do want to learn more about this deck. I really don't think I have enough confidence to pilot this just because it's got such a big target on its back. It's not a very well-kept secret even before Milwaukee, and it did still perform well. But I don't feel comfortable enough taking this into a metagame where like your opponent just knows your 60 card list or 58 of the cards. And that would also be a worry of mine for Sarah Ledge, as it is very linear. But everybody just kind of knows what's going on. You have one game plan, blow up what's in the active. So there are some like other tech cards you can play in this, considered maybe a second Turo or Turo plus Picnic Basket, little things like that. But the biggest question mark that people would hold up and they would not know my exact list, even though all of you watching and who follow me like on X know what I'm looking at and know the cards in my list, or people in online tournaments. But most of my opponents, if I flip over, Joltik, they'll expect me to play Clefairy. The Gravity Mountains can come in clutch. They can be a surprise. It can force them to play down early stadiums like Gemming Tower or the Lively Stadium. And when I bump it, they're not going to love that. I can also sneak out games with Tool Scrapper. They might go in with like a Kangaskhan or something. Or Bravery Charm Screamtail or Drifloon. And then I bust this bad boy out and can steal some games from that. And Galvantula EX has definitely surprised opponents, because that first tournament that I went 7-1 in was closed Decklist. And that's why I was just so surprised to see how much or how useful the Galvantula EX was, just for that surprise factor. They bench Fez, they bench Latias. One energy, evolve, boss. It's really not that difficult to pull off, as compared to like when you get Iono'd early or in the mid to late game. It can be a little bit more difficult to pull off Ursaluna, especially if you're bench locked. But if there's that Joltik still on board, which most opponents will ignore because they want to go 2-2-2 and win their prize race there, Joltik's already on the board. So it's just an evolution and an energy away from swinging for 220. So it's been pretty solid for me so far. Again, Galvantula's not like a mainstay in the deck yet, but it is something that I am running for now. And it's done me good in my last 2 online tournaments. A combined record of 22-1 between games, I think it was, because that top 8 and top 4 were best of 3. And technically, I did win the game against Mega Absol, but because I got time stalled, they gave them the win there. So then it would be 21-1-1